Hello, I'm Debbie Bell-Hosking for FinextraTV here at NextGenAI conference in London, and I'm joined by Daniel Szmukler, EBA or Euro Banking Association. And Daniel's just come off a panel which was looking at and discussing with great debate where next with AI. So Daniel, a big welcome.
Thank you, Debbie. Good to be here.
We've pulled you off stage and brought you into the studio, or our makeshift studio here at NextGenAI. Before we get onto the panel itself, can I please ask you for your view on the status of AI adoption within Europe?
So AI adoption within Europe has been quite interesting because in continental Europe we have recently seen the adoption of the EU AI Act, which very much defines what is the ethical use of AI in various applications across the board. And of course, from a financial services point of view, we took an interest in understanding how this may impact the current use of AI in the operations environment in the banks, in the way how potentially also lending decisions are taken, how credit scoring is being influenced, but also from a large language model point of view, how Gen AI can potentially evolve further in the areas of the customer interface, so chatbots, robo-advisors, etc. So I think in the financial services industry, AI in Europe has developed over the years in very specific areas, and it's, I would say, the conventional, the traditional form of AI. So the rule-based AI around machine learning, and in many conversations I've had with banks across Europe, I noticed that the key applications are in the compliance space and in the operations space. And more is also entering in finance and legal. So in the compliance space, there's a lot around sanction screening, fraud, so fraud patterns, fraud detection, anti-money laundering. So in that area, you have already a number of models in place where both the accuracy, the reliability of these models are tested by time. In the customer space, we're seeing developments that are Gen AI driven, but they're very slow. So banks maybe by culture, by mindset are still a little bit defensive with regards to going with more momentum into these areas, because the key asset that the bank always puts forward is trust that customers have in it, and it needs to have that span of control, that certainty that the outcomes are equally tested by time and by repetition, by iteration. And that's a process that we feel is not yet fully established in many regards. So that's what we see in Europe a little bit across the scope.
That's so interesting what you're saying from the customer element and Gen AI. And what I'm hearing is this balance between what the customer wants and ensuring that trust and security. And something else, there were two words you used earlier, which was more and more. So if I look at more and more, there's more that can be done, there's more that within the financial services and payments. So can I ask you, let's go back to your panel, because that lends itself to what's next for AI in financial services and payments. Can you share a little bit of what happened on your panel and where did it land?
Yes. Well, we had a very interesting conversation with Jeff Thyssen from Bain and Jochen Pappenbrock from NVIDIA about how AI, from a technological point of view, really is taking up adoption within the financial services industry, but also from a cultural point of view in terms of a data culture. So, for example, I had the feeling we concluded that you have to have both views, a lens on both views. You have to be mindful of what technology can do for the organization, but at the same time, you need to find ownership in the organization. You need to have it positioned or placed in the organization that is sufficiently senior to really create also a data culture. So the quality of data that AI can work with is of utmost importance. And I think the fallacy is that AI is reasoning on the data or is creating context, and that's not true. In the rules-based model, typically the rules are set, and AI learns, the algorithm learns from the data sets it processes. And each time a manual operation is required because the organization feels that here an automated process cannot happen, that manual intervention done by a human obviously adjusts the AI. And the AI then algorithm learns from that adjustment, and next time it faces the exact same situation, it is more likely to automate it. But in the meantime, it's supervised AI in that sense, supervised by humans. With GenAI, we're coming into a space where context is being learned and conversations are being held. So AI is very much conversational. The large language models that underpin GenAI create context, and they also give possibly the false impression that reasoning is happening, but that's still not the case. And I think what we tried to highlight in the panel is that technology is very fast developing in that space, but at the same time, culture is not at all fast adopting to it yet. So within the banks and within many financial services, the culture is still holding back that adoption that potentially could be possible. And we agreed that this is not wrong. It's just a statement that you need to find, as you pointed out, Debbie, an equilibrium between the two. And the same is true, by the way, for regulation. Is technology outpacing AI regulation? Or will AI regulation, so to say, sit in front to make sure that technology is tamed?
But can it get in front? Can the regulation get in front of the technology?
It's a good question. In continental Europe, many people believe that the EU AI Act came ahead of the possibility to really create large-scale adoption. So it anticipated the potential implications of AI, and it was the first jurisdiction that really came up with a very strong regulatory framework. I mean, we're talking about 1,000 pages that you can plow through, and you understand how much anticipation of unintended consequences with the use of AI is interpreted. And so, yes, there are people that feel that the EU didn't even have a chance yet to absorb, the potential of the AI technology, and it already regulated it. Hence, in other jurisdictions, there is no such AI Act, and you could say AI develops a little bit more according to best practices.
And this will be interesting to watch because different jurisdictions have different approaches, and we're still in the sense where we're still learning about how to deal with the technology that is moving so fast. But what was interesting, just very briefly, if we may, we were talking off camera about the next generation and how what is new to us will become very relatable to them. What are your thoughts in terms of moving forward and the future customer?
Well, if we talk about the customer space, I think it's important that technology, as you point out, is relatable. And that's where I think GenAI provides really a leap change in the sense that it's a technology that has much more transformational potential on that customer front-end side than many other technologies on which we have seen hypes over the past years, from blockchain DLT to crypto to cloud-based services. I think AI just touches the human much more in the sense that it's intergenerational. You can literally show your kids or even your parents how an application like ChatGPT works and the outcome it creates, and it's very easy to manipulate, and it touches you and it relates to you because you don't need many words to explain what it can do. Whereas if I'm trying to explain to my kids what blockchain is, I'll struggle. Even if I'm a practitioner in that space, the relatability is just so much less.
Daniel, there is so much to talk about here, and I'm quite sure that you had the same experience when you were moderating your panel session today. So I do look forward, because I know that GenAI will be a natural discussion point at EBA Day 2025 in Paris. So I look forward to getting together then, chatting further, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, I look forward to it.